You're above the system. Like I said in Armand's reading, like they're trying to get us to think that we get power from them. We don't get power from them. You know, and so I do want to say, for a lot of people, you may have been looking to be a part, you may have been told, and in your heart you knew that you were supposed to be a part of a certain industry, whether that's the entertainment industry, whether that's politics, or like news or finance, and like it just hasn't been working out for you. And the reason that it hasn't been working out for you is because we've been waiting for this time, for those curses to be broken, for those systems and structures to have their energy source, their battery, their power ripped away from them, so that they cannot exploit and cause harm and trap you the way that they wanted to, and they would have if you had gotten in there to the degree that you wanted to. So now with all of this shit, I mean, you can expect to hear back very soon. You can expect to be getting your what is it called? Recompense. I get the 8 of Wands in the reverse position. If there's internal battle, it's time to let that go. It's time to just make a decision and choose yourself, because you are disempowering yourself, okay? New life and new energy is coming in. It is the matrix. Like I said, the matrix is made of water and light. And when we think about it, it's the divine masculine sun and the divine feminine living waters, rivers that flow, okay? And these two things come together, and one, that's 𝗪ṟ marriage. That is what, to me, being non-binary is about, okay? And a lot of us who are from Mintalk identify that way. Christ consciousness brings you to that place. You know what I mean? Like, and yes, this divine union of the divine feminine Christ and divine masculine Christ, the crystalline sun and the crystalline waters coming together, and the false mother, who all she can do is mind control, all she can do is warp the narrative and create illusions, it's dead. She's done. And that was a marine entity. And, you know, you can ask yourself what it was. I can't speak to it because it just like, I just can't. It's part of the witchcraft that was done to me. But there's no more dying. This is like eternal life. Okay, we have become triumphant, victorious over death. But that is not, death is not, there's nothing wrong with that transformation. We have triumphed. Okay, this is why the sign of Christ is a butterfly, and it is also a fish. I've talked about this, that the Christendom is actually a marine kingdom, the crystalline waters of life. Those two things you need for life. You actually don't need matter, but it is what it is. You get to a certain density and that's what you get. How have we got the same download on that about the marine entity? Oh yeah. This powers and principalities. That's why I was just like, wait a second, be very specific here because I need to know more. And yeah, I think I shared about that in the last live that I did too. I don't know if I credited you on that, but if I didn't, I will go back and update that on my YouTube. Ace of Wands in reverse, they can't make anything. They're not going to be able to. Everything's just coming. Like, this is the fastest it can come. This is coming in days. 10 days is what I'm picking up. Yes. Yes, we are. They want to stop the 144,000 because they are going to lose this supply that they want so desperately. And it's like, you worked so hard to create this structure that was never sustainable, but you could have actually just been working to heal, and you probably would have already reached your destination by now. Just saying. But they're relegated. They're done. It's done for them. We get the Two of Pentacles. It's a full split. Exactly. Queen of Cups in reverse. They don't have any power. They don't have any motion. Like, they're done. And they were teamed up with the fallen ones. They were teamed up with 𝗍𝗍. They were teamed up with the fallen ones. And I've said this before, and I'll say this again. A certain rapper, producer, mogul who's in the hot seat, who my sister's fiance used to live above. I don't know where he lives now because they ended up not getting married. But yeah, he is the oversoul for the 𝗍𝗍 collective. And that's a big part of why he's so evil. But he's also just a fall guy, and that's really important to understand. Pluto, these systems are like maladaptive, lowest expression of Plutonic energy. Because in its highest expression, Pluto is the perfect partner. It is very fertile. It rules underground. The underworld is literally underground. So that's why it's associated with precious minerals, precious gems, wealth, abundance. Is very wealthy. And this is really bringing me to the idea that like, the feminine was enslaved and the masculine was drugged. The feminine was enslaved through marriage contracts. So a lot of these dark divine feminines are in marriage contracts that they did not create. Someone in their bloodline may have created it for them. That, who? Oh, no, I didn't meet him, but like, we didn't see him, but I didn't live in the apartment with them. I was on campus. I lived in the dorm at that time. Because I moved to New York before her. She moved up to be with her fiance. They lived in the penthouse and I lived on the dorm, but I spent like at least three nights a week there. Whenever her fiance wasn't there, I would go over and I would spend like days with her and stuff. So she saw people. She like met Deepak Chopra in the elevator. She saw people, and Diddy lived below and he wanted to buy the penthouse from them. And I tell you, they had Versace walls. I never even knew that Versace made walls. But yeah, she met like, not there, but when she was engaged to him, she met Quincy Jones and all of these people. So yeah. And I just feel like that guy was a vampire, and he is a vampire, and I'm going to do a reading about like all of the downloads that I have about the vampires and about the corrupted priesthoods and the Nagas in Egypt and where all of this comes from. But like, this is when I know these kinds of people personally, and like, he literally wanted to drink and eat her blood. Specifically her menses. So like, these things that people are like, oh, that's not true. Like, those of us who actually have proximity, like, no, that is true. He had a psychic on retainer. That's why they say, millionaires might not use astrology, but billionaires do. So trust and believe. Like, meaning snake killer. Oh, wow. Wow. That's very interesting. I feel like usurping, and like I said, usurping. Like I said, like this, I know this to be the case, is that like that lineage, those lineages, they all come from like, they're all from this dragon bloodline or whatever, but these are sects that broke off and like betrayed the rest of them. So betrayal lives at the core of all of this. Corruption, power, hunger, greed, all of that lives at the core of this. And so the feminine being sold into marriage slavery, you'll see a lot of dark divine feminines were sold to be married to entities. Like, especially like they'll be sold to entities essentially. It's very much like the story of Andromeda, where her dad like sold her to be married to a marine entity because the thing was terrorizing their town, and so they chained her to a rock to be eaten, and then stuff happened. Stuff did happen, yes. And she was saved by Prometheus. And of course, Prometheus is seen as an enemy because he brought fire to the world, and because of that, he was chained to a rock to have his guts eaten. But doesn't that sound just like the story of Azazel? And also, there's so many versions of Prometheus, so I think that there's so much more nuance to it. But I will say this much: if some of us who identify as witches, as magically powerful people, you know, if you were sold in a contract to an entity, it may have been an ancestor of yours who did it, but you might also be that reincarnated ancestor if it wasn't like someone who was recently in your life. They don't have the power to do that. So those contracts are null and void. Do not believe that you are still in marriage slavery to an entity. You did not consent to that. And a lot of us have been doing work to like disbar and disband all of that. Never made the connection in the myth she was sold to the water. Yeah, and there are multiple marine kingdoms. So like I said, the Christendom is a crystalline marine kingdom, but then there's the satanic marine kingdom. And there's satanic of everything because Satan actually means shaitan. That is Arabic. The shaitan are the energies and spirits that are evil. That's what shaitan means. Satan is not actually an angel. Lucifer is not Satan. Lucifer could have become shaitan if, like, in becoming evil and bad, that could happen, but that's what shaitan means. So there are marine kingdoms that are shaitan. And I believe that that's whatever energy, like I believe that the Atlantic Ocean is cursed. I felt that way since I was a kid. I almost died in the Atlantic Ocean. In my country, we are on the Atlantic Ocean and people are not allowed to swim in the ocean because the rip current, there's a rip tide in the Atlantic Ocean that will rip you down and kill you. And I guess this is part of where the idea of sirens comes from as well. But like the idea is that like, oh, that's the marine spirits trying to bring you back because you are a marine and they're trying to like initiate you into the ways. And there are a lot of stories in West African culture that those of us who that happens to, if it succeeds, they'll like come back. Like they'll come back like years later and they'll be super pale because they were underwater all that time. And that may be so. That's what it means to be like away with the fairies. Yeah, these shaitanic marine kingdoms are what I believe they've sold a lot of priestesses to. A lot of water priestesses were sold to these entities to breed with them. And so this is like the Lilith collective that they are creating is what I'm downloading. I'm downloading pieces of this puzzle that I haven't yet downloaded. And, there is compassion and empathy to be had, but that doesn't mean that we let them off the hook. Everybody will atone eventually. There's always room for them to atone, and that's why we have an unconditionally loving creator. There's always room for atonement. So just, turn around and stop doing evil things before it's too late. But as far as you go, you'll always be able to like atone for it. So these energies and entities, they can atone. But what I will say for the person who sold me, she thought she had done it to a lot of people apparently, and I have more spiritual rank than her, and she didn't know what she was messing with when she did that. And she is she's not gonna have a very pretty rest of her life, however long that lasts, which is not very long, I assume. Well, she might last a long time just to see more suffering, though. So with this happening with the eclipse, like those we're leaving that, those contracts are done too. Yeah, she keeps sending it back. That's the problem. She keeps doing it. That's the problem with one of these people, when these people are alive, is like, you send it back, spend $400 sending it back, and then they do it again and again and again. But I listen to frequencies pretty much all day, every day for return to sender. And I would encourage people to do that, but we're not gonna have to do stuff like that very soon. And I remind myself, like, there was a time when I didn't have to live like this, and just because it's been going on for a year doesn't mean that it's gonna go on forever. Yeah, there was, what was I saying? Oh, those contracts are dead, they're done. We're gonna come out on the other side. So, you know, if, like I said, people are gonna be losing spiritual rank and they're gonna be stuck in the old earth. I've seen it so clearly now. I understand it so clearly now. Like, you know, they're gonna be stuck because they didn't choose to level up given this opportunity in the birth canal between this time last year and now. And unfortunately, like, you know, some of our soul family has become karmic and they're stuck there. I don't know, they're gonna have to like figure it out, but this is the changing of an age. This is thousands of years. This is millennia. This is not something that you wanna get stuck in and trapped in. You know what I mean? I'm so glad I decided to hang out in your live today. You're giving me so much hope. Yay! And I get the King of Cups again, like, we are, oh my God. And so when I first started picking up that I had been sold to this entity, it had coincided with me starting to work with a shaman from my country. And he was like, yeah, somebody, like, you have to make an offering to this being so that they will leave you alone. And so we did. And it said that it was going to leave me alone, but then it just kept coming back. And it was because, like, there's no amount of money that she can pay to that will atone for the fact that she promised a child of God to them and cannot deliver. She didn't know what my ranking was, so she didn't understand the gravity of what she was doing. And so it will come up in like energy and readings, and like it's come up for others and it's come up for myself where it's like demanding money. I'm not paying you. I'm not the one who did this. I didn't make a deal with you. So I don't know what she's gonna have to figure out what to do with her debt collector. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I can tell you this much, all of those entities, and they are of a specific kind of entity, and a lot of these FMs of these secret groups, these cults, the FMs, they are skinwalkers, and they will choose this form in the ethers because it is one of the most powerful forms in the marine to take on. And they will, they'll do that. And, you know, water has to do with communication, it has to do with information, it has to do with emotions. So that's one of their primary ways to do these attacks. Because if what you're saying, Armand, is correct, and that the American government, they were FMs, they were Masons. You know what I mean? I grew up outside of DC. I see it all very clearly, especially when my leading ancestor was the Grand Mason, or the Grand, whatever the fuck they call them, of the Masonic Lodge of my country. I saw it all very clearly because he showed it all to me very clearly. And yeah, if they made pacts with a marine entity, specifically a shaitanic marine entity, you know, I do see why this might be that this place is being swallowed up by water. And there's so much flooding going on, so much raining going on, but when these divine feminine Christs are liberated, we'll finally be able to come into 𝗪ǒ𝗻 union with our divine masculine Christs. And the thing is, this whole time with this twin flame union, it was about getting the sun and the water, the light and the living waters integrated within ourselves so that we could come together with our divine counterpart and create not just incarnate human baby, but but also to create a new world. That's what we're giving birth to. And that's what we've been going through. It's unfortunate that some of us had to perish in the birthing process, but kudos to those of us who were able to make it through. Analysis paralysis, Mercury retrograde in Aries feels a lot like overthinking and mistaking that for making plans or taking action, when in reality it's just a way to hide from doing what you need to do. So a lot of us are like in fear about money, in fear about material reality stuff, and you might be like overcompensating by trying to control things. And whoever you are, if that's you, you already know that you can't. Like, you can, the best laid plans in the universe will topple that shit over. Okay, so stop wasting your time doing that and start using your time wisely. Like I said, today is a day of self-care. It's a day of self-love. You know, take a bath, rub yourself with some nice oils, you know, eat a cinnamon bun, you know, eat your favorite food. These kinds of things. Do what makes you happy. Do what makes you feel good. That's what you're being encouraged to do, instead of like trying to control a situation that you cannot control. Period. Self-conscious fears arising like, am I good enough? That's subjective, so who really gives a fuck? Have you seen the Senate or the House? Have you seen the presidential cabinet? Why should you be concerned whether you are good enough when people like that are not? So the power dynamics are shifting, and they know that. There is going to be a lot of flooding, a lot of flooding. If you live in a coastal city, get ready for that. And I feel like for those of us in New York, the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, even Delaware, you know, Philadelphia even got like tremors from the earthquake. There will be floods. There will be like floods, like Hurricane Sandy type floods happening in New York. It will especially be hitting Manhattan. I lived through Hurricane Sandy. I already lived in New York at that time, and the face of a building was ripped off in the Lower East Side. Power went out all across the city. The streets were filled with like water that had like gasoline in it. We're still recovering the subway from like the flooding that happened during Sandy. And I mean, just think about all of the houseless people. So yeah, that's something to be ready for. That's something to be mindful of. And also in New York, on December 21st, 2012, there was a tremendous rainstorm actually that caved in the ceiling of my dorm. So that's something to be aware of. Be careful, be mindful, be wise. Stop moving to places like Miami. Stop moving to Malibu. You don't, like, if you're really actually about this life and you're as spiritual as you claim to be, and you're still operating from a 3D mindset, and oh, I'm gonna do this because like, oh, well, you know, maybe it's gonna happen, maybe not, maybe I'm being crazy. You're playing yourself, bro. And we're gonna still be on this earth, but it's not gonna be able to affect us. That's what's gonna happen. Yes, the eclipse is happening now, exactly, right now. It's actually getting darker here right now. Something is coming up that you're not so sure about how to react to because you don't necessarily have hardcore evidence. Maybe a few pieces that you intuitively sense fit together, but you're afraid others might tell you you're dragging it. You're not dragging it, and you don't need others' validation to give you permission to live your life. You're gonna regret not honoring your intuition when the expose happens soon. It's just coming to the surface and you're sensing that energy. Honor your integrity, which should include honoring your intuition as a fundamental foundational aspect of your life practice. And like I've been saying, stay low key about it. Do not involve yourself more. Move undercover so nobody even realizes you're privy to the game. You want no parts of this. Because as bad as it is on the surface, what's hidden in the Neptunian waters is even worse. Don't mix your energy into that shit stew of a cosmic potion. Yo, reading that in conjunction with what, yes, me too. Reading that in conjunction with what we were just talking about, like, we get the Lovers. I'm reading this as the angel that Archangel Michael, yes, but the bugle is blowing. It already blew. It's already been blown. It's already been blown. Ace of Pentacles. For some of us, this is a new beginning. For some, it's the end. Because that portal, like I showed you guys, that portal that was open, it's closing now. And they're going to be stuck on that side, whereas we're going to be on this side. And when we get onto that side, I know that I have some great explanations. When we get on that side, we're going to be able to ascend up, but they're going to be stuck in that loop. They're going to be stuck in old earth, and old earth is over. Many will fall. Answer the call. Okay, this infighting, it's over. Stop arguing with yourself. Trust and believe who you say you are, what downloads you've gotten. Like, you cannot half-ass this. You can't have one foot in and the other foot out. You can't do that. You will get torn apart. That was a medieval torture. They'd put one of your feet on the horse and this other foot and like drag you in different directions, and it would rip you apart. That's barbaric. Don't do that to yourself. Pros and cons list, to-do list, set alarms to help you get things done, accountability partners to bookend with, practice healthy boundaries and stand firm in your no today to what you're not willing to do. Because people are going to be trying to take advantage. I would honestly be like, call out of work. If you didn't already call out of work, I quit my job. So this is my job now. But, yeah, my friend, we were just like, don't go to work today. And so when I woke up and she was still here, I was like, what are you doing here? And she's like, I stayed home today. I was like, yes. Because you really don't want to be around, like, demons try to body jump, and this is they've been going so hard. Thank you. I'm so happy about it. I really believe that she was also a triple letter agent. But like, they've been going so hard to stay stuck on you because they know that they're being sheared off with this closing out. And I always talk about Pisces being like this filter, reverse osmosis kind of filter that purifies us. And that's a painful process. Transmogrify is the word that I'm hearing. Today is not the day to do the most. Take it easy, rest, relax, ground all this wild energy. It's super chaotic. Joining the fray would only make it worse. Stay out of the spotlight today. You can watch and observe or just do your own thing completely, but you should by no means be taking center stage. Proper use of this Aries superstellium today is doing the work in the background instead of in the foreground. Not for me, obviously. Don't take sides in a battle of egos. Mind your business, keep your head down, and you might just make it out of this Mercury retrograde with your hide intact. Okay, so the moon will be in Aries for the next 3 days. You might feel a lot of high vibrational energy. Spirit, is there anything else that you want to communicate to us for this? Collaboration. I get King of Cups in the reverse. People think that it is actually the masculine that is the problem. It's not. It's actually the feminine. Because the masculine is under mind control from the toxic feminine. Like I said, they enslaved the feminine and they basically drugged the masculine so that they cannot protect or to go out and do. That's what masculine energy is. That's what positive energy is. It's expressional. It's a doing externally. Whereas feminine energy is processing and attracting, electromagnetic. Together, they make you electromagnetic. But the masculine has been made to not be able to put out electric frequencies, essentially. And they can't go out and they're under a spell. It's like being drunk. You're saying this in such an amazing way. I've been feeling this for so long. There's a shadow matriarchy. Yes, I call it the false matrix because matrix is mother, matter. So this false matrix wants us to think that it is in control, but it's not. And so it is all about mind control. The mind is the first, after we incarnate from spirit, then we get the mind. And then we get the emotional body. And then we get the causal body, the energetic body. And then we get the physical materiality. That's why I say the material world, the 3D is the final frontier. So that's the last place that you need to be concerned about in terms of manifestation. If your mindset isn't right, then it's going to be a whole problem. But I do want to say, even now as I say that, I think about the fact that the heart actually starts forming, I believe, before the brain does. I think the heart is the first thing to form. And so this might explain why, the moon, that's the moon and Mercury, and these two things work together to communicate. And I've said this a lot before too, is that Mercury is actually the divine masculine that we think of. It's not Aries. If we have to choose, they all are, but it would be Aries. It would be Mercury actually. But this cognitive body, it's also in the emotional, which is the water, and the mind is air. And these two things are being manipulated and exploited. So they have us associating femininity with water and masculinity with air. Oh, logic and compassion or feelings and sensitivities. These things need one another to fill in the blanks and fill in the cracks. And so it makes sense that they do all of this stuff to do mind control, and then they're in cahoots with a marine entity and a marine spirit. I think the whole split between masculine and feminine is a control program. It definitely is. And also the Hermetic principles are the veils of forgetfulness. They are the seals. They seal us into thinking, to not being able to transcend a certain level of consciousness. Because it's the law of gender, the law of polarity. And it's that's only a law when we are incarnate. But when we're not incarnate, that's not actually a law. You know what I mean? So, that feels really important. And it's been really important to me, Page of Pentacles. Baby steps, okay? It's been really important to me to remember that, I've had a lot of terrible cis men in my life. And I've had a lot of terrible masculines. I'm thinking about butch lesbians specifically. But I've had a lot of, including that have just been really, really possessive and controlling and not actually ever shown up for me in any real way, but just steal my emotional labor. And I had to train myself, not all masculines are this way. And I would think back to my childhood best friend's dad, who was an amazing human being, a loving, kind human being. He still comes around. He passed away, but I engage with him relatively regularly in the ethers because of my mediumship abilities. And him and his wife are the reason I believe in true love. They are the reason that I believe that not all men, but not in the reductive sense. And it's really important for us to remember that. Start treating people as spirits incarnating in a vessel, in a body, as opposed to just, even if they over-identify with their vessel, you don't have to. Okay, that's where we're coming into. That's what we're coming into. Spirit, are there any other messages? Facts about the Hermetic principles. Oh my goodness, yeah. Do you think that 𝗪RH is swinging by today? I don't know a lot about 𝗪RH, but I think that is the hidden third star of Sirius, right? I don't know a lot about it. They have like hid a lot of things, or like not wanted me to know a lot of things, my ancestors. So that's one of those things that was really hard for me to get a sense of. 10 of Cups, we get 10 of Pentacles in reverse, but 10 of Cups in the direct position. As the material world is falling to pieces, we are coming into our power. We are coming into our prosperity and our abundance, because those structures could not make it at the frequency that we are entering into and that we have been birthing into, but that's where our riches were, and they were at that frequency so that these lower vibrational entities couldn't access them. Okay, I'm getting so much awesome, cool information right now. I don't want to make this too long because I want to put it on YouTube, and I don't want it to be like crazy long if I put it on YouTube. But I might have to break it into like 2 parts when I put it on there, because it's definitely been like 2 hours. 6 of Pentacles, and there's healing coming to your material life in terms of your money. Everything that's been taken away from you is being, like, justice is coming in. There's a spirit of death sweeping the land. I just heard a siren. You know, let me tell you about what's been going on in New York. And this is going to tell you about what's going on generally. We were the epicenter of C-19 hitting the country, United States, right? And then we had an uprising, whatever. But in terms of like other like non-social things, the dust cloud, where the sky was literally orange because of the wildfires in Canada. I called it the Dune cloud because it looked like Dune. Flooding, massive flooding. Now we're having earthquakes. Someone told me there was a church on fire on Easter. Yeah, like, take this for what it is. Like, stop being afraid and sticking your head in the sand. Take this for exactly what it is and protect yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and really all that I'm hearing as far as protect yourself goes, like, this is Mother Nature, the natural mother, the true mother, like, detoxifying. And all that you need to do is stay open to following the will of the Most High Divine Creator. That's all that you need to stay open to. What you follow your heart, your high heart chakra. Okay, your high heart, not your fourth dimension, yeah, wow, it is the fourth dimension, because each of them are a dimension. And each of your chakras is a universe of its own. In case you didn't know that, King of Pentacles, yes, we are really coming into, like, you know, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. The meek shall inherit the earth. That's where we're at right now. Hanged Man. Where we felt stuck before, they're going to learn. They're going to learn the gravity of messing with the chosen ones, with messing with our Divine Mother. Okay, I do want to speak to the 12th, because that did come up as an important date. Uranus in Taurus will be trine Dark Moon Lilith in Virgo. Dark Moon Lilith in Virgo, the sign of the Virgin. The sign of the maiden, if you will. So this is going to this is a timeline shift, like really, I'm hearing Silver Surfer, which is quantum leaping. And Pluto will be moving to Aries at 2 degrees on that day. This harkens back to the 2nd of February. So if you keep a journal, which you should, I really encourage people to keep a book of shadows. Go back to the 2nd of February and see what you were doing that day, see what the energy was giving, because there will be answers there for you. But I'll read from what I wrote. What did I say about the storm that was coming? No, deadass, what did I say? Don't play with it, don't play with it, don't play with it. Anyway, it's not unexpected for some of us. I hope you shored up. I hope you got right. The key here is that I've told you not to be afraid. You need to be practical, reasonable, logical, and intuitively guided right now. Do not panic. Don't act a fool. Lead with your intuition and the wisdom you've accrued over the past few cycles and journeys. I don't think the karmics are going to be able to get to you at this time. I don't think the karmics are going to be able to get to you. And it's an unexpected thunderstorm. The need to develop the inner security which will enable us to meet unexpected crises. That's what we've been going through. One is not prepared. Nature's challenge. Under a downpour of rain, adobe brick can return to mud. All human institutions and their achievements can be washed away even in their day of great glory. This is Pluto at Aries. Aquarius 2 degrees, excuse me. This is a big ass deal, guys. And on the 2nd, what I downloaded was depth realization, the Sabian symbol of the moon, deep sea divers. The divers, they refer to the Masons as the divers. What is happening in the collective will challenge you to your core. Just how stable is your foundation? The archaic structures of a corrupt system have been crumbling for a long time. Have you shored up your own foundations to ensure your survival? I got Selena Kyle's quote in The Dark Knight Rises. There's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne. You and your friends better batten down the hatches, because when it hits, you're all going to wonder how you ever thought you could live so large and leave so little for the rest of us, which indicates a class war. It indicates like all out class war. People have been talking about like all of these migrants that came, that were suddenly brought in that are of military age. I don't know anything about that, but this is what I've been hearing. And what I do know is that there will be class warfare. And I mean, we already saw the start of this in Paris, in France. And yeah, I am too, but I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be in the mix, as I've been through enough, but I do believe it's what is necessary. You know, you got to crack a few eggs. And it makes me think about the French Revolution. Liberty Leading the People is one of my favorite paintings. I saw it at the Louvre. I love that painting. 7 of Swords. All that has been stolen from us is coming back. It is being given back to us. Think about the French Revolution. Okay, I'm hearing the Jacobins. I don't know why I felt called to put that there, but it's like third eye. Some of us, like, our job in the revolution is just spiritual. You know, we don't have to be a foot soldier every time. During the uprising, you know, I had a care network, and we had people going to protests and stuff, handing out safety kits and care packages and stuff like this. And then when we had all these protests going on since October, I didn't have the ability to do that this time, but I did rally up all of my friends and have us like pray and do energy work. And like friends that I have who like own like spiritualist centers and stuff like that were like, wow, I never thought to do that. And I was just like, that's the first thing that we need to be thinking about doing. That's our job. That's what we were born to do. Let me tell you something. We're soft little squishies. I'm not born to do hard labor and like fight. Not at all. So like, but I was born for this moment to do the things that I do spiritually and energetically. So that's for somebody. You don't, especially if you feel like you might feel like you're betraying the collective by not going out and being a part of things on the ground when this stuff starts happening. And like I said, my friends and I were watching that documentary earlier, and it was talking about Occupy Wall Street. You know, you might feel like you're betraying your values or your morals, but if you're not supposed to be there, trust that. Okay, trust that and contribute in the ways that your unique gifts can do. You know, anybody can go on the ground, but they can't do the kind of healing on the earth's high heart chakra that I was able to do necessarily. And that doesn't mean I'm better than them. It just means that I have higher rank and more power, which comes with greater responsibility and therefore a special kind of service that I have to offer. And trust and believe, you don't want to be targeted for the kind of power that I have. It sucks. I also got Here There Be Monsters, which Hector Barbosa from Pirates of the Caribbean, which has been really coming up a lot for me. I might do a reading or a video about that too. You're off the edge of the map, mate. Here there be monsters. I think he said that to Orlando Bloom's character when they went to Davy Jones' locker to get Captain Jack Sparrow. So that's at World's End. And the next movie, they go on a hunt in the 4th Pirates of the Caribbean movie. First of all, in the 3rd Pirates of the Caribbean movie, 𝗪ص is the queen that they bound in her bones. She was a goddess. Tia Dalma was a witch who was the goddess 𝗪ص bound in her bones. And when they finally released her, she waged this huge storm that ended up being the end of the British East India Trading Company. In the end, the pirates won. And if you look at the death card in the 𝗪RH Tarot, look at this. This is Divine Union. Bye, see you soon. It was great hanging out with you. When we look at the death card in the 𝗪RH Tarot, it looks like a pirate flag, right? And what did we say? Christ is the master of, the wielder of death, being triumphant over, having the power of resurrection. Christ consciousness energy gives us the ability to do that. The sky is getting darker because I am in the state of New York, and yeah, so we're in the eclipses happening right now as we speak. Pluming the Depths, Carl Jung. Oh, and the next one, in the 4th film, they go searching for the fountain of youth, the fountain of life, which I said is the high heart chakra. So that's something to be aware of. And then there are a bunch of sirens and mermaids in those films that they have to contend with. I don't even barely remember that one. I only saw that one once, whereas I saw all of the other ones a million times. So I was super, super, super into it. But maybe I need to watch that one again. I won't be watching. There's a lot of stuff in there, and I'm gonna do some writing about it and share with y'all. But Pluming the Depths, Carl Jung called it the shadow, and that is where the Western term shadow work comes from. Some might also call it exorcism. Do note that while the moon transits through Scorpio, illuminating the hidden depths, skeletons in closets, buried bodies, its modern co-ruler Pluto is in the veritable territory of newness that is 0 degrees Aquarius. This was on the 2nd of February. We have entered uncharted waters, my friend. New level, new boss. I really hope you've been doing the work. So you're this is the Wild West out here. Build your empire. Do not be afraid to be in your sovereignty, to be in your personal power. Don't let anyone sun you. Don't let anyone play you. You are the sovereign. And this dog coming here makes me think of Hecate. So there's also that. It's a storm coming. It's changing out there. Just like last time, there's a storm coming, Harry, and we all best be ready when she does. 𝗪ዀ𝗧. You might think that all of these quotes are essentially the same, but they have different frequencies. Each planet, sign, house, degree has its own frequency. Hello. Has its own frequency. By the way, Uranus is related to storms and Jupiter is related to thunder. Both are in the sign of Taurus. They're going to be conjunct this month, I think on the 20th of April. So April's a big effing deal. Uranus is related to storms and, okay, hello. The Sabian symbols are a new quality of being and virgin space. This is the Tower card in Tarot's Major Arcana, which does depict a lightning bolt striking a tower and causing it to be torn asunder. Lightning, esoterically, represents mental enlightenment. It being associated with Jupiter, and there in Sagittarius and Pisces, means philosophical enlightenment and progress coming at the expense of tradition and long-standing structures. Those unwilling to evolve will fight tooth and nail to ensure others do not get to. Expect this to manifest as interpersonal conflicts and clashes over political policy, sociocultural ideologies, religion and theology, and philosophy, but on a grand scale. It is imperative that people ground into their own integrity so as to not get carried away in the fray and confusion. I do think that war is, like, a really big war is coming. And I think that maybe on the 12th, there's going to be something that happens that, whether it's like behind closed doors or what have you, but there's going to be something that catalyzes a really big shift in political policy and global economics. And it is going to be, it's going to bring a war to many of us. And I do feel like the US is going to be directly implicated. I know that we are already directly implicated in a war, but this is going to be different. After writing this, I am reminded that the moon is exactly opposite Jupiter, Taurus, second house, house of passion and feelings here. A possessive desire to protect what's mine, a feeling of entitlement. I'm hearing a southern voice saying, by rights. Did you know in the South people call the Civil War this war for Southern independence? All part of the fallacious lost cause narrative that is about states' rights. So there's going to be narcissistic people lying, vampires trying to spin a narrative that they are the ones who are being hurt, that they are the ones being taken advantage of, that they are the victims. This is not true. This is not true, and nobody's going to buy into it. Nobody's going to buy into it is what I'm picking up. Knight of Swords and a Nine of Pentacles. So believe in your philosophies. First of all, Mars in Pisces is powerful manifestation energy, so you really need to focus on being present and practicing mindfulness. That is to say, mind over matter. Do not let your ego run the show. Choose your healed whole self in everything you do. We get the Devil in reverse, and we get the Queen of Pentacles on top. Come on, y'all. Exactly. Choose your healed whole self in everything you do. I'm sure I've mentioned the upcoming Jupiter and Uranus conjunction. That is on the 20th, like I said. Right now, it's in an applying conjunction. It's Jubilee energy. First will be last, and last will be first. Meek shall inherit the earth, like I said. There will be a lot of chaos and systems of oppression tumble to the ground in the final collapse of their decay. My higher self celebrates this, while those who cannot see the writing on the wall or have not yet evolved out of matrix consciousness might be run by fear at this time. You're more evolved than that, though. You've done the work. Trust that this is all what's meant to be. This Two of Cups in reverse, exactly. The split's happening. I'm seeing a flag being rended by thunder. That is something that happened in 2020 during the uprising. That this is all what's meant to be. This is clearing space, and the Statue of Liberty was struck by lightning last week when it was pouring buckets the day before the earthquake. Yo, the symbolism, the High Priestess. The goddess is back, y'all. This is clearing space for your manifestation to come in. So ride the wave like the Silver Surfer you are, instead of hopping off your board, pretending you don't know how to swim and thrashing about like a fool. Keywords, get out now. Tower, giving big tower energy. There will be a lot of chaos and systems of oppression tumble to the ground in the final collapse of their decay. In the world around us, as well as in our personal lives. I'm hearing get out now, so seriously, leave that job, dude. Leave that relationship, that apartment, whatever it is, get the F out. Don't you live with toxic people. It also may relate to a certain, don't say I didn't warn you. It is particularly in your social life or a living situation if you live with toxic people. It may also relate to a certain philosophical collective you belong to that you need to disabuse yourself of. Get off the losing team. It's not too late, but it will be. People getting canceled publicly online for problematic views. This will stick. Their lives will be ruined, and that's not anyone's fault but their own. I get the Ten of Cups and the Chariot in the reverse. Some of us, this really speaks to the timeline splitting, okay? People speaking up publicly online, expect to hear a lot in person, a lot of people in person and on the radio talking about all of this too. It's going to be widespread news. aliens, something to do with aliens, and something to do with like some news that is a really big deal, that is groundbreaking, like literally groundbreaking. From your local hometown to the international global collective. What I heard is N-words are getting snatched up. Global collective. What I heard is N-words are getting snatched up. But I feel like there's a lot here. There's a lot that's come through, and it's all really big stuff. I've already been on for like 2 hours, so I don't really feel like staying on much longer. But I think that like what has been shared is like enough. Okay, like you're not in those contracts anymore. We're at the end and it's time to let go. Literally, the sky is darkening as we speak. For those of us who are on the winning team, who came here to win, we are victorious in Christ. Okay, look, this is what I was talking about, the death card looking like a pirate flag. Okay, we are victorious, we are triumphant, we are masters of death. We have gone through the ringer and here we are on the other side. Triumphant. Don't let nobody play you. I don't remember why I put this in my, because they're not going to be able to steal from you anymore. You have to have an abundance mindset and stop operating from a poverty mindset. That's the old world. We're in the new world now. Okay? I love you all truly and deeply. I hope that this was helpful and I wish you happy hunting. If you didn't get to see all of this live, I'm going to be uploading it to my YouTube. It's 𝗧_𝗃𝗃 on YouTube. I probably won't cut this up into pieces to like post TikToks from, because that actually takes a really long time. But do go watch on YouTube. I love you. Peace.